It's hard to pursue something creative if you don't even have the basic needs like food, water, and shelter. That's what Maslow's hierarchy of needs is all about, but it's also true for your customers. You can't delight them if you haven't met their basic desires and needs. That's where Christina Garnett's hierarchy of user delight comes in. She is HubSpot's principal marketing manager of offline community and advocacy. She's also the founder and host of the Fan of the Fans newsletter and show. Today, she digs into the hierarchy of user delight and how she applies it at HubSpot. In this Marketing Powerups episode, you'll learn, first of all, why caring needs to be a core value of thriving communities. Second, the difference between community and advocacy. Third, Christina's hierarchy of user delight. And number 4, a career power-up that's helped accelerate Christina's career. By the way, I've created a free Powerups cheat sheet to help you apply Christina's hierarchy of user delight to your business. You can find it for free at marketingpowerups.com. I'll find that link in the show notes and description. Are you ready? Let's go.
Marketing Powerups. Ready? Go! Here's your host, Ramli John.
We've been binging and chatting about fandoms. I know in another show you talked about how fandoms is a great place to describe how HubSpot. You talked about Hub fans, and
yes,
this is huge fandom around HubSpot as
there
well.
Is, yeah,
isn't there?
There is. It's really lovely to be able to kind of take community and elevate it to this different level with fandom, and so it creates such a deeper bond, but they're also able to connect with each other beyond the brand. So our Hub fans have this peer-to-peer network where they can talk to each other, they can ask questions, they can connect and have fun opportunities. And so it's really lovely to be able to take our customers and partners who are deeply knowledgeable and love us and know what HubSpot can do for them and just be like, how can we pass the mic to them? How can we make them the star of the show? And so it's been a pleasure to be able to be the person that gets to offer that to them. I'm very honored. The customers and partners I get to work with daily are just lovely people.
I'm trying to connect this somehow to Barbie, how Barbie is worked with other partners to create content.
Yes.
You've done something similar with Hub fans where you've enabled this fans to actually create stuff on their own. I think I saw something like that. You did, right?
So we have the Inbound Correspondence Program, which is basically we have our customers and partners, our Hub fans. They go to Inbound and they act the way that most companies see influencers. They're sharing their perspective, their experience, their highlights and things like that. And I think it's a really interesting way for brands when they're thinking about advocacy and they're not sure of how to get started. Think about how you would handle your influencers. Imagine what would happen if that same kind of love and care was given to your customers. They're going to want to be louder for you. They're going to want to create more content for you. And in return, they get to build their personal brand. They get to really level up as creators because of their connection to you. And so that empowerment piece is just so priceless. And so you find that I want to work with anybody who wants to talk to me about HubSpot and wants to talk to me about Hub fans. What do you want to do? What motivates you? What makes you excited? What would you like to do? Because I find that it's very easy to pigeonhole people into this box and say okay, you can just do case studies and that's how you love us. And some people would love to do a YouTube video for you or a TikTok video or a podcast. We have podcasts that are just HubSpotters and HubSpot fans who are talking about their knowledge and updates and things like that. And so you should encourage that. You should love that. That's fantastic that you're building a creator community of people who maybe they would love to do that, but they don't know how to get started. And so you as a brand get to say hey, we love you back. We see what you're doing. How can we do more of that? One of the things that we have for Inbound is the after hour show with George B. Thomas. George B. Thomas, if you've been in the HubSpot ecosystem at all, you know who he is. He's an amazing guy, has worked agency side. He started his own agency now. And he just has this incredible energy about him, this positive energy about him. And so we have an after hour show with him at Inbound where we do an audio show from 6 to 7 on the first 2 nights of Inbound to say here's what happened today. Give us all the details. What did we miss? What sessions did you love? And it's a really great opportunity for people to connect about and kind of like basically what would you do if you met at a bar, like right after inbound ended and your head is buzzing with sessions and you're like, I just want to talk to somebody about this. Imagine if we did that and then we offer it up to people who maybe didn't get to come to Boston. Now they can ask questions and they can overhear and they kind of get a piece of the action with even if they can't come. And so that exists because of our creators and our hub fans.
That sounds like it's like taking the idea of the community on the definition of community on a different level, where traditionally with audience you have like this person who's like talking to people versus this you're essentially enabling the community members to be the voice. This is exactly
Absolutely. And it's really this level of empowerment. I really like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I've created my own version based off of like customer advocacy and delight. And at the very, very tip top that a lot of people don't get to, it's this empowerment and like basically they get to become their final form. And so imagine if you're a brand and you get to be the person that like, yeah, swag is great. But what if you got to give them swag plus the opportunity to speak at inbound? Or you got to be able to, yes, you have swag, but you get to have your own show, or you're part of the podcast network, or you're one of the creators, or you have a YouTube channel. It's unlocking doors that just would not exist otherwise. But why shouldn't they exist? And why can't you open those doors for people? It's a really powerful way of getting them to that next level so that you're more than just SaaS, like you're more than just a B2B brand. Now you are a brand that is impacting people's lives. Yes, you're growing businesses and you're helping people do their job, but you're also helping them with their careers and you're helping them become like the idealized version of themselves. What do I want to be when I grow up? When like 5-10 years from now, like what does that final form of me look like? Being able to be on that path with people is incredibly fulfilling.
You brought it up. Like, what is? I think I missed this hierarchy of what would you call it? Christina's hierarchy of community needs.
I took Maslow's okay. Hierarchy of needs. Right. So it's just this little pyramid, and at the very base, it's survival. So it's like you need food, you need water. For brands, that's you're doing what you said you were going to do. If someone signs a contract with you and you're going to give them this product or service in exchange for that, that foundation level is you do what you said. There's a lot of brands who still aren't doing what they said they would do, but they think that they can send like a hoodie and it's going to fix things. It's not going to fix things. You need to get the foundation first. So do what you said you're going to do. And on top of that, it's support. So it's nothing's perfect. If something goes wrong, are you there for them? Do they feel safe? Do they feel like that they could be taken care of if something unexpected happens? And then from there, you move up. So then now we're talking about love. Now we're talking about community and swag and opportunities to feel seen and heard. And maybe that brand likes a tweet of yours, or maybe they send you like an emoji back. That's great. But that's usually where brands stop. Like they'll send you a gift or they'll send you a hoodie and it's like, see, we like nailed it.
We love
There's
you.
more.
Yeah,
we love you. And that's great. Don't stop that. There's more. You can do more than that. And so above that is that final form, that empowerment. What are you offering people? They're your biggest fans. How are you showing your love to them that only you can give them in that way? What does that look like to you? And so one thing that's like one really great example is Troy Sandage, who is, he's a member of our podcast network. He's a Hub fan. He's absolutely incredible. He was a correspondent our first year having the program. And last year, he became our main stage host. So he's like the MC of Inbound. Who else is going to be able to give him that opportunity but HubSpot? And he absolutely killed it. He did an amazing job. So when we're talking about like opening doors for people so that they can become their final form, that's what we're talking about. Like, how can you have that voice of the customer in places where you would have only reserved that for a celebrity, or you would have only reserved that for an influencer? A lot of brands, if they treated their honestly, if all they did was swap their customers with influencers and they treated their customers the way they treat their influencers, just that would make a world of difference. You want to talk about people who will like create content for you for the rest of their life, who will tell everyone they've ever met how amazing you are? That. And people will believe them too because they don't have millions of followers. They don't have that paid partnership underneath. They know that you're doing it out of like sheer love of the brand. And so you have organic, trustworthy UGC. You have diehard fans that are going to you're going to have stronger retention numbers. it's wild. I see all these things where it's like you're sending millionaires places or you're sending influencers places. I was like, oh my gosh, your customers would give anything to be even like treated half as well. Why can't you do that? Why can't you give that to them?
Before I continue, I want to thank the sponsor for this episode, 42 Agency. Now, when you're in scale-up growth mode and you have to hit your KPIs, the pressure is on to deliver demos and signups, and it's a lot to handle. There's demand gen, email sequences, RevOps, and more. And that's where 42 Agency, founded by my good friend Camille Rexton, can help you. They're a strategic partner that's helped B2B SaaS companies like Profit to Wall, Teamwork, Sprout Social, and HubDoc to build a predictable revenue engine. If you're looking for performance experts and creatives to solve your marketing growth problems today and help you build the foundations for the future, look no further. Visit 42agency.com to talk to a strategist right now to learn how you can build a high-efficiency revenue engine, or you can also find that link in the show notes and description. Well, that's it for now. Let's get back to the episode.
That's so deep. I think that it seems like at the very highest level, it's like they've turned from like using the product to being the voice of the product itself.
Yep.
Is that it's also like as you go up, what do you call that? Christina's hierarchy.
Hierarchy of delight, hierarchy of advocacy. Yeah.
All right, so Christina's hierarchy of delight. There's this deeper level of engagement, but commitment as well. Like it's much harder for them to leave now. Can you talk a little bit about the retention piece here? Because once you become like at the highest level of that hierarchy, it's so hard. Your identity is now attached to that brand because now you're the voice. You're talking to other people. You're talking to your friends maybe who are not in tech about that.
Yeah. So retention is huge. I think that retention is essentially like the younger child that's kind of ignored a bit too much, but now people are having to pay attention. Everyone's focused on growth, and that is fantastic. But you have to keep the people that you have. You can't just say like, all right, well, we're done with them. Like that's why the funnel doesn't work. The flywheel is what works. Because what happens when you get to the bottom of the funnel? You get chucked out, like you fall out, and then we don't care about you anymore. Flywheel, very different. We're going to keep you in that cycle. We're going to keep taking care of you, making sure that you're good to go, making sure that you have what you need. And in return, there's going to be retention, but also you're going to share what a great experience it was for you. You're going to want others to have a similar experience. And so retention is huge. It's absolutely huge. And so, but how do you get people to stay? How do you get people to stay when people can compete with you on price? When people can compete with you on different pain points? It's relationships, it's connectivity, it's community. That's like, how can you be sticky enough for people to stay? Well, you got to take care of them. You got to treat them well. You got to give them opportunities that no one else can. You have to absolutely care about them and have it be a part of how you communicate with them, how you talk to them, how you set up events for them, what you do for them, how you are doing your work with their point of view in mind. Like when I'm planning things, I'm always like, what does this do for the Hub fans? Why would they care about this? What opportunities does this offer that they don't currently have? Where's the value for them? Would this be exciting for them? Would they be happy? And so that has to be the cornerstone of what you're doing, because otherwise you get stuck in what you think is cool. That's not necessarily what they think is cool. Or you might give them an opportunity of like, that's too much time and I don't think that's cool. Or I don't think that's worth it. And so I think the ability to care and deeply understand what matters to your customers and partners is going to be huge for you, because then you're going to be able to essentially let them pick their own adventure. Like, what does loving us look like to you? And then how can we make sure that you're able to do that?
It's something that you tweeted about a few months or years ago around, you could teach somebody to code, but you can't really teach somebody to care like deeply. Yeah. And that's what like community and advocacy and like retention is all about. Because sure, maybe they can switch to another product that is lower price, but there's that risk. Like, would they care about me as much as this people from HubSpot cares about me? That's really the retention piece. Another really interesting thing is you've called them Hub fans, and it goes in my mind like that, attaching somehow their identity, part of their identity now to this, group of people, this tribe, this community, it's not just you're leaving the product, you're leaving your people.
Yes. Yes.
Is that what you're finding? Yeah.
Well, we're finding that like we have really fantastic numbers, and our Hub fans, like I said, are some of the most amazing people I've ever been able to work with. So I'm very lucky that I'm honored that I get to work with them. But I find that it's not just me. It creates that bridge to them. So now they have, like you said, they have their own tribe, they have their own community, and now they're not just asking me for things, they're asking each other for things. Hey, did you see this? Does anyone have experience with this? And what it's done is it's created like a micro community where they understand that like the people who are in this proverbial room with me are power users. They've been using this product for a while. They get it. They like it. And the thing too is that they also know that it's a safe space to be negative. So like I had a meeting with a Hub fan a couple weeks ago where there were some things that he's like, I need this to get done. And I could have easily said like, sir, this is a positive space. Like we are Hub fans and like we are all warm and fuzzy and like we don't have negative ideas. No, I want to hear everything. What do you not like? What would make it easier for you? What can I share with the product team? How can I never want them to feel like they have to put on a mask and be like, all right, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows. Otherwise, Christina's going to kick me out of here. It needs to be like, if you are a fan and you have negative feedback, I know you're not being a troll. I know you understand the product well enough that you're coming from a space of this could be better. Here is why and how. I want that information. I want to send it to product. I want to talk to our team and be like, this is what I'm seeing. Has anyone else had any feedback about this? All that does is make us better. That makes the product better. And for all the people who have that negative feedback, there's probably 5, 10, 20 people who have a negative experience but probably haven't said anything, or they don't have time, or they don't know how to even engage and figure out who to complain to. But either way, we fix that for one person. Chances are it's going to fix that same issue for a lot of people. And what does that do? It improves the experience. And that's not a bad thing. Improving the customer experience should always be the goal.
The other piece of that's interesting is like that one person who was complaining, by listening to that person and then turning it into a solution, their commitment and like wow factor, I guess, has gone up on a different level. It's like they actually listened to me and like implemented this problem that I have. So I see that also as a great way to, I guess, move higher up the hierarchy.
Absolutely. But it also gives them a sense of ownership. So I've seen this multiple times during my career here where we have something called the Ideas Forum, which is a place for our customers to come in and be like, hey, why can't we do this? Or I wish I could do this. And sometimes they'll even say like how they would code it. Like, here's how I would actually make this happen. And we've had some of those ideas get approved, get shipped. And then when that person who pitched that idea sees that it lives in like the real world, they have a sense of ownership now. So now they're going to promote that new feature more than like anything an ad could ever do, because they're going to be like, I wanted this. This fixed my problem. They listened to me, and now it lives in the wild. And it lives out in the wild because of me. It got shipped because I asked for it. This is my work into the, like, how can you beat that? How can you beat that with someone's like, I got to play a role in making this product better. That's very powerful.
And I guess that's like the most interesting part. I think this is part of like the advisory council. Is that really what it's about? Like kind of defining maybe the product roadmap or like what they're looking for more? This is not what at scale, or have you cherry picked like ones that are most vocal to help kind of shape this?
I talk to everybody. So, and we have different teams who will want to be like, hey, do you want to be a part of a beta? Or, hey, we'd love feedback. So the other thing that's really great about this and our voice of the customer team is we're able to tap into customers to say, hey, this specific person on this specific team would love feedback on this. What do you love? What do you hate? What would you change? Or do you want to be a part of this beta group where you're testing it and being able to do things? Would you like to be interviewed? Would you like to talk to our product team face to face and be able to share your experience, good, bad, ugly? And so what we're doing is with every time we're sourcing an advocate for someone, what we're doing is, because a lot of people just see the outside, like they're tweeting about us, they're on Reddit, they're doing a YouTube video, they're doing a TikTok. That's amazing. But they do just as much work internally. And so they're helping us improve. They're giving us that feedback because the voice of the customer needs to be very close to what we do. Because if we don't keep the voice of the customer very close, it's very easy, and tons of brands have experienced this. You go off in your own way, and that's not where your customers wanted you to go. That's not what they needed. And so having that voice of the customer ever present, it's that way to like keep product market fit like always there, which you need.
Yeah, that's so good. I think that's just like tapping into how community can really like fuel like a bunch of stages in that growth flywheel that you're mentioning about. This is now like talking about how to like fuel, what to build and where to go, and making sure you remain in the product market fit rather than losing that for sure.
100%.
How do people like I'm curious if the product, it seems like this HubFans is like such a big part of this HubSpot's flywheel. Is that promoted right from when people sign up for a trial, or like is it much later when they've kind of like proved out that they're using the product? Like I'm curious how actually people, how HubSpot itself promotes HubFans internally or externally.
So it's a little bit of both. So the way that we have our program, it's built into the community so that there's a gamified piece and there's a community piece, and you can do one or both. Like I said, I'm very much choose your own adventure. Gamification isn't for everybody, and you shouldn't be penalized because you don't want to collect them all, And so we internally work with teams to say like, so if we have a CSM who knows somebody who's like deeply passionate and wants to do more work with us, I'll get brought in. And to see like, what are the opportunities that we can work with this person? What do they like to do? How would they like to work with us? And then we also have other teams where maybe they are seeing what's working and what's not working, or it could be that they're just playing around in the community and they see HubFans in a group and they're like, what is this? We have landing pages so anyone can find it if they're interested in joining. I also do a lot of social listening. So I'm looking for people who are talking about HubSpot positively, or they have an experience that they want to share. And so I regularly am touching in with people and being like, hey, I work at HubSpot. I run this program. No rush, no pressure. But if you are interested in doing stuff with us and getting rewarded and having opportunities, we'd love to have you join. And then I give them like all the resources and materials so they can learn up and make sure that I'm not a phony. And then they kind of go from there.
I like how that one-on-one approach, you go back to around relationship. I feel like sometimes as marketers, we automate things too much. I can imagine like, oh, if you gave us a 10 on the NPS, then we instant invite. Does that happen? I'm curious at all.
No.
That makes sense.
I don't like, okay. I believe that you should automate some things.
Right.
But I am like an analog digital girl. Like my to-do list is written down. I have Asanas, I have like all the things, but like I also have my analog. And I believe that that's kind of the world that I live in, is it has to be an analog and digital. There has to be pieces that are deeply human, unapologetically human. And then there's pieces that are automated. So we have certain parts of the gamified that are automated and set to go, but there's Slack channels and there's emails. And if I see something that I want people to go like be a part of, I can message them and be like, hey, would love your feedback on this. And they also feel that they can tweet me or they can message me. So like I have people who message me on TikTok. I have people who message me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, like all the things. So it's like they know I live online. Same thing. Like if I see them, I'll ping them. But I think it's really hard to like create a relationship with someone when it's so obviously automated. Like, for example, let's say that there's an event coming up and you want people to feel like a VIP. So you send out this email list and it might be 30, 40, 50 people, but you say like, I'd like to personally invite you. But then I look at the way it's constructed and I know that this, like, I'm on a list. How can this feel intimate if it's so obviously a part of a workflow or something else? And so with AI and all of these things that are happening right now, especially in customer marketing, when your work, really the fruit of your labor is relationships, you have to be very thoughtful and protective of what is automated and what is human. Because that is what's going to get you to the next level. That's what's going to build those relationships. So the first time you get an automated email from somebody and you're like, I've known this person for 5 years. Like, why are you talking to me like we've never met? Like, We've had
Right.
drinks together. What is this?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It immediately it immediately makes you question, like, I thought we were closer than this. What is
That
what is
hurts.
this? That
Yeah.
hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that just having that really empathetic nature of, if I had this relationship with somebody and they sent me this email, how would it make me feel? And are you saving enough time to make up for the difference? If I'm saving 30 minutes, but I'm making someone feel cold, that 30 minutes, that's an investment. I should have just written them. I should have just DM'd them if we're close enough, you know? Like if you text to people and then you send them like an email list, that's weird. Like, you can intimately find me and you chose to do this. I thought we were different. Yeah, it's weird, but you have to think about it in that perspective. It's very easy to get into the system of, we have to automate absolutely everything. And so much of my job is automate what I can, but be protective of what is relationship. Be protective of what is tied to emotion and tied to like really thoughtful experience. You have to think about that, because the person on the other end, even if they're doing it subconsciously, they're going to think like, why am I getting this email?
Right.
And you did it, and they opened it because they know it's from you. And they're like, oh, it's from Christina. How is she? Oh, it's a template.
Oh no. Shoot. What part do you automate then? I'm curious. Like, a lot of this emotional relationship building is like, is it more like the admin stuff? Like, like Zap? I'm not entirely sure. Like what part?
So we have some admin stuff. So like for gamified, one of the things that we have automated is when you get to different points, like the more points you get, the different scales you get. So you get like the different levels. So when you get to that new level, basically like you want a thank you or congratulations. And like, what does this mean? Like, what else do I get? So that's automated. And then I go in there and I check. And if there's anyone that I see that I know is like doing a lot of work and I'm seeing all this stuff, I'm like, I should go and say hi anyway. Just be like, hey, saw you poking around, saw you doing some challenges, saw you talking about us on Twitter, like all the things. The other thing too is just like, you don't even have to reach out. You just have to acknowledge. If you looked at my LinkedIn page, 90% of my content is sharing other people's content. Because what I'm saying is, this is like, I don't even need to add myself to the conversation, but I'm going to heart it. I'm going to share it. I'm going to amplify you. And I've had multiple people come up to me to be like, I just love that you amplify our stuff. Like you saw it said HubSpot and you saw it was positive and you're like, whoop, all right, it gets shared. And that's the thing though, is that there's a lot of people working on personal brand. There's a lot of people who want to share really great content that may or may not get seen. But I do have a decent following. It's not crazy, but I have a decent following. And so that means that more people that follow me that know the HubSpot ecosystem are going to see that. Why wouldn't I want their voice louder? You're going to help people build a workflow and they hate workflows. I have to share that. I'm going to make someone's day better. They're going to have one less headache because of a video I found and shared. That's amazing. And so it's just those little things. It doesn't have to be a lot. It just has to be a touch point. I see you. I heart you. This is wonderful. Yeah, it's just the little things. Just sharing UGC. Just it's wild to me how brands, they'll share a meme, but they won't share quality UGC.
That's true.
From someone saying how great their product is, and that's something that people will believe.
Yeah.
It's weird to me. Yeah.
I love that. That totally makes sense. For people who are not familiar with the term UGC is user-generated content, and it really is like empowering people. You talk about the hierarchy, particularly. Just on this topic, it's interesting that I feel like the reason why there's this push towards automation sometimes is like, this whole rush to grow quickly and grow fast. So how do you do that? Let's just like spam message. let's just send a bunch of emails to people to get them on increase engagement, get them to sign up for this community. And it just feels disingenuous, I think, when that is approached. And I really love your take here. which ties back to, I'm curious what metrics you're looking at. Do you have any specific metrics that you look at in terms of community growth, or those badges for those gamification, or it could even be like retention or number of advocates? I'm curious exactly what you and your team looks at and what you report up to.
So in 2021, when I started, it was very much like, let's get this launched. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if it works. Let's see how people react to this. And then last year, it was very much, let's grow it. And we've been very lucky. Like I said, we have a very passionate community and fan base. And so like the growth is there. So now it's more about like elevating it and getting to the next level. What are the opportunities that we can have? What are the measurements that we can have beyond growth, beyond like how many members are? What does engagement look like? What kind of thoughtful conversations are being had? Are there learnings that our product team is getting from this group? Are there beta testers? Is there evidence? Do we have quotes, testimonials? Do we have videos? What are we doing to be able to delight them? And then how can that those conversations and information lead to more sales, or drive retention, or provide opportunities for us to improve our roadmap? And so it's at the end of the day, it's turned into, how can we have voice of the customer drive more business impact? And what it winds up turning into is, how can we take an external opportunity and have it take care of an internal need? Because you can never have too much of a voice of the customer, knowing what matters to them, knowing what they would pay more for, knowing what current challenges that they're having. Because the voice of the customer, like, it's even just in the past 3 years, the outside variables that are impacting our customers are changing. There's been a lot of customers who like would love to be customers, but maybe they've had layoffs. Maybe they've had to downsize. Maybe they were a part of the bank failings that happened earlier this year. And because of that, like, they had to completely change their trajectory and plan. There's a lot of external forces that are working on your voice of the customer. And the challenges that they're facing in Q3 this year could be very different than Q1 last year. So you can't think like, all right, well, I got the quote. We're good. We're done. We're out. Like, I don't need to talk to them for like 5-10 years. You need to keep them close, because there's going to be so many variables you can't control. And so like the market is impacting a lot of businesses right now. And so you have to control what you can control. So how can we make sure our voice of the customer is loud? How can we make sure they feel seen and heard and appreciated? How can we improve our product and make sure that it's aligning with the problems and challenges that our customers are having? And so that is the constant work that we're doing, is how can we make sure that work we're doing is continuing to solve for the customer?
And I'm guessing your team is like, you and your team are championing that voice now to the product, to the content team, is that exactly what's happening now? You're meeting with other teams, or like how do you package this up so that other teams can use that voice of customer that you're hearing through socials as well as through this community?
Well, it depends. So it depends, because their needs are just as different as our customers are. So they might need like, hey, if we're going to do our campaign, what does that look like on social? Or if we're going to do this at inbound, how are we creating a space and experience for them versus the traditional attendee? How are we talking about this for sales team? Can we package up some quotes and share content that they can then easily share with prospects who would love to hear testimonials? And so basically, just as we're taking care of the customers and making sure that we're really solving for their needs essentially like in the way that they need it, we're not trying to do like one fell swoop that's going to take care of everybody. We also don't do that with our internal team. So it really comes down to having those very clear guardrails of, what do you need, and how can the voice of the customer answer that need? And then what does that packaging look like for you? Is it a Slack channel where we'll post things? Is it a landing page? Is it a webinar? Is it like whatever that looks like to them, and then providing that for them?
And I can totally see that. I also could see this as like, do you find that people who are part of Hub Funds are more power users? So like it actually increases power, product usage as well. Or is it the other way around, where like higher product usage people are actively using HubSpot more often than the average customer actually join Hub Funds? Or maybe there's like a relationship between the two, where the people who are in Hub Funds, like, they see use cases and challenges, and because of that, they're like, they I guess, use it more than the average user?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So what we have is we have the power users who are like, they got it. They want to know more. They want to share. They want to do all the things. So we definitely have that contingency. But then we also have this group of people who, because of being a Hub fan, a lot of like gamified, for example, there's updates on features that are coming out. There's check out our latest ebook or check out this latest video from so-and-so. And so we're providing educational tools directly to them. They go to one place and they're like, here is all the things I can learn about in one place. And so it also encourages them to become power users. So we're seeing that mix of power users kind of elevating themselves. And then we also see people who they're in the trenches, but they're saying, all right, I need to increase my usage. I need to be able to squeeze more out of this. How do I do that? Here is this think tank of fans that can answer my questions for the stuff that like maybe I've looked on Google and YouTube and I don't know what this answer is, which means it's highly technical. Well, here's this group of power users that I can tap into because we are all fans. I can ask them questions, they'll walk me through it. And so it's just really lovely to be able to see that. And the nature of our Hub fans is that they're incredibly giving. And so they want to help each other. I've been in communities where like you ask a question and they like just judge you. Like the scowl is immediate.
Oh no.
And here
Right.
with Hub fans, everyone's so lovely. Like you ask a question and everyone's like pitching in. How can you help? What do you need? I have a framework for this, or let me show you what we did, or do you want to hop on a Zoom and I'll walk you through it and share my screen? Things like that. That's really like special. That's very hard to find. And so you have this really nice intersection of advocacy and community where they do the work of advocates, but they treat each other like a community, which is really lovely.
That's good. That's great to hear that. And I'm guessing also there's like, what's the relationship between Hub fans and HubSpot Academy? Like, is there like links to, because I feel like that they really work hand in hand with each other almost.
They do. So we do have some of our trainers. So we have some of the HubSpot trainers. They are in some of the HubSpot Academy videos. They also have boot camps that they do. And some of those trainers are in our Hub Fans program because obviously they love the product and they know it quite well. And so we also work really well with the Academy because they also want to feature people who are not just professors and not just HubSpotters. So we've had Hub Fans who've been presented as experts. We had one person who, absolutely amazing. She was in our Facebook advertising course when it was revamped. And what's really lovely and goes to that hierarchy model is when it got published and she was able to share that she was a featured expert in it, it wasn't like, hey, check this out. And it wasn't even like the LinkedIn, like, I am so humbled to that. You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't that. It was, this is a career milestone. This is how I know I've made it because I was featured in this. And so it's really lovely to be able to have these opportunities and have people who are like, they're not just there, like they're brilliant and they are funny and they are kind and they want to help. They're helpers. And so it's really fulfilling to be able to open those doors for them to be like, do you want to be in a HubSpot Academy video? Do you want to teach a boot camp and teach people how to do something? It's really lovely. But like you said, there's a really great connection between HubSpot Academy and Hub fans. The HubSpot Academy team is incredibly talented and kind. And it's all about elevating people. Both groups elevate people. And so it's fantastic working with them.
It seems like this Hub fan became like a HubSpot professor. It seems like there's like a, traditionally we think about career paths, but there's like a community member path almost where you come in.
Yeah.
Oh, is there? Is there really, like, do you have that mapped out somewhere where like you have it in your, or is it more like it's informal where like you start off as a member, then you respond to a few, you're a contributor, then I guess at the highest level you're a correspondent or you can teach something.
So we do have like internal documents for like our customer journey. So just like we would do a customer journey, we have advocate journey, we have a community member journey. But I think what's been really lovely is HubSpot proves that they pay attention to the people that are in their community. I was a fan of HubSpot before I joined and was asked to join. Devin Bellamy, who founded Black at Inbound, he was a major fan of HubSpot and is brought on, and he's done amazing things. And so what you see is when you're working with all these people, there is this general love of the brand and of the product and the people that make it possible. And so it doesn't always happen, but it's lovely to be able to see people who've kind of grown from the outside in because of their relationship with us and like what they're learning.
You keep bringing up stuff. What is the advocacy journey or the customer member journey? I mean, you don't have to like list it out specifically, but like this kind of piqued my interest that it's different from the customer journey itself, or it could be like a micro part of it.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about advocates or we're thinking about community members, we think about like, all right, they've joined or they're in our ecosystem in some capacity. And then what do you look at to determine like how are they growing as a community member or how are they growing as an advocate? So it could be, it's very behavior based. So it's, are they answering questions in the community or are they tweeting about us or creating YouTube videos or posting on TikTok? What are they doing and are they doing more of it? And what does it take to get them to do more? Is it that maybe they don't know what to post? It could be that they need encouragement. It could be that they don't know how to like edit video. Is that an opportunity for us to have like, there's a video hug that's all about like using video marketing. Like, what are the opportunities that we can get in front of them so that, because a lot of the time it's not a lack of will, it's a lack of something else. Either I don't know, or I'd make it, but like no one's going to see it. So like, what's the point? Well, I can help with that. I can amplify it. So like, what are the different motivators and what are the different friction points for people to be able to get to that next level? And then how can we as community leaders and advocacy leaders, how can we remove those barriers for them to get them to the next level, making sure that the whole time we're adding more and more value for them? Because it isn't just like we need them to do more for us. It's, well, as they do more, what do they get out of it? Like, what's the why for them? Because it can't just be that they want to like edit YouTube videos all day, because I know that that's not it. So like, what's in it for them? Do they want to be a thought leader? Do they want to present an inbound? Do they want to create a podcast and be a part of the podcast network one day? Like, understanding like where are they headed? Where are their goals? So I talk to my advocates quite a lot to figure out like what's going on, what's happening. And the beginning of this year, the first quarter, I had a meeting with our advocates to just say like, it's been a really tough quarter. Some of you have lost your job. Some of you are worried you'll lose your job. Some of you are just burned out and tired. And so a conversation of like, what are you struggling with right now? Where are your challenges? What can we do to make you feel better? What are your new motivations? And so things like that, just keeping them close. I'm going to say like, keep your customer voice close really a lot of times, but it's worth saying every single time. Knowing like what motivates them, what's their carrot? Because I think it's very easy to assume that all people have the same carrot and they don't.
How many people were in that? I guess how many advocates do you actively follow up or like are part of this? Do you have a separate group for advocates? Like it's like a higher, I guess, a different group. Oh, and
we have a community group for our Hub fans. We have active Hub fans in our Gamify that may or may not be in the community, and then we have our Hub fans council, which is our top tier, which is the people who are like top of the top. Like they've done everything that I've ever asked.
Right.
They've been like, do you want me to color my face purple and like yell? I'll do it.
That's funny.
So they get like every opportunity I could find for them. So I don't know if I can divulge the numbers. We have thousands. We have tens of thousands in gamified. We have thousands in the community. And then we have hundreds in the top tier level.
That's cool that it's like a higher, like this is what you're talking, what I was talking about, like some kind of like progression.
Yeah.
Itself. That's super cool.
Yeah.
In terms of like I'm calling it the hierarchy, Christina's hierarchy of delight. Like what's your advice to companies who can help their customers, like I guess move up that hierarchy? Maybe right now they're at the lowest because like at the lowest customers are there because they're getting something functionally from the product, but like how do we what are your advice for them to get their customers up higher and make them love the product enough to become advocates?
I would not take, look at the NPS scores, like you said, or look at the NPS, not scores, that's duplicated. But look at the NPS, see what are people saying in their things? So if they're giving you a high NPS, are they providing why it's high? If it's low, why are they providing it's low? If it's middle, why are they providing it's middle? What's really interesting is that people triage the bottom and they will praise the top.
Yeah.
And the growth is in the middle. An NPS is an Oreo cookie. And I need you to go the cream first. Go to the center. Because that is where the growth is. That's the people who are they don't hate you.
Yeah.
But they could love you, but they don't. Go to the cream. Go there first and figure out what's working, what's not working. And take care of them. Because it's very easy to fall into we're going to take care of the I love yous and we're going to take care of the I hate yous. But it's very hard to turn someone I hate you to I love you. But you could turn a meh into an I love you significantly quicker. I'm not saying you need to ignore the others, but you need to make space and time for those people. Because those are the people who usually get ignored. In social listening, if you're doing social listening, it's the neutral that a lot of people ignore. They'll go straight to the escalation ones for negative, or they'll go straight to the positives to praise those and retweet those and get those out. You need to look at the neutrals. Why are they okay but not happy?
Yeah.
Why are they this will do?
Yeah.
But also those are the ones that are going to leave.
Interesting.
Those are the ones who are going to leave, because the ones who hate you are going to leave as soon as they can. They're going to leave as soon as the contract expires. The ones who are in the middle, as soon as a competitor says anything, they're out. Because you just have to be better than mid. You don't have to be great. You just have to be better than mid. There's a lot of opportunity in the cream of the Oreo. Go there. Spend some time there. Who is okay?
Yeah.
And figure out how you can get them to the next level.
Yeah. And figure out how you can get them there. What do they need? What are the problems they have? And then you're talking about in that hierarchy, start off, do you offer them swag? What are your thoughts around that at some point? Obviously that's not necessarily the carrot that they're looking for, but really figuring out what is it that they need there.
So I love swag, but you have to be very thoughtful about swag.
Yeah.
So for example, there's two things with swag that a lot of people take for granted. One, there's dopamine.
Yeah.
The first piece of swag you get from a company will always have the biggest dopamine hit. And everything after that will have less and less and less. So it has diminishing returns. So if you keep giving someone a hoodie or a Yeti or something, they're going to be like, thanks. But it never feels as good as the first time you gave them something. So you have to remember that. You're not making the same headway that you thought you were. 2, people know what things cost. So if I got you this massive $10,000 deal and you give me a $35 cup, at first I'll be like, thank you, that's super cool. And second of all, I'll be like, you're going to have to bring a little bit more than this. And that's why I don't like transactional stuff. Swag can turn transactional really quickly. I love swag for delight, for surprise and delight. I don't like swag for exchanging things, because things start feeling transactional very quickly. And when it's opportunities or delight, it's oh, this is really lovely. And I don't think that I've done 10 things to get this $35 cup. I just think, oh, they notice. That's really cute. That's nice. Versus if I do a call and then I get a cup, I know that call equates to a cup. And so I will stop doing those calls or whatever you need me to do once that cup is not worth the time. And so I love swag, not fighting swag, but you need to remember those two things. And it all comes down to human behavior and behavioral psychology. It's how does this impact people, and how is it going to impact people over time? And how do you need to be aware of that as you're nudging people? And so, yeah, you gotta keep that in mind, because as soon as someone says they'll send, give gift cards for people, and they'll take the first couple bites, and then after that they stop doing it. And they're like, why did they stop? I thought they were engaged. It stopped being worth what you were offering. You set the post for what it was equal to. And as soon as that wasn't enough for them, they stopped.
And that's why like relationship is so much better, because like it's beyond extrinsic reward. There's like this deep like we talk about love, but this respect and friendship built, and you're more willing to do something for a friend than you are to do something for a $50 gift card, hopefully.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing. I actually want to shift gears and talk about career power-ups. That's like something that's helped you accelerate your career. Now, you've had an interesting career. Actually, I think I looked back, you started off as a teacher, and then you got into marketing. Now you work at this amazing company, HubSpot, as principal marketing manager for their Hub fans and their advocacy programs. I'm curious, what's a thing that helped you accelerate your career? It could be something soft, like being friends with more people, or something more like a hard marketing skill, but it could be anything that's helped you get a leg up as a marketer.
I think for me, what's been very helpful is I've been very vocal about my thoughts on things. I'm very particular about how I say them. Like, I don't go out and drag people, but I think it's important to have a clear point of view. It doesn't mean you need to be an influencer. It doesn't mean that you have to work on your personal brand. But it does help when people outside of your circle know what you are about and what you think of, and like what your perspective of things are. The other is, you cannot get in your own head and think that people are thinking about you more than they are, because they're not. A lot of people will think that their career is being held down because people don't like them, when what it is that they're so busy they may not see all the things that you do. So documenting your work and managing up to show, like, here's all the things I'm working on and here's the business impact I'm creating. Like, there's a quote from Steve Martin that I absolutely adore, and it literally is like the cornerstone of my career, and it's, be so good they can't ignore you.
So good. Yeah.
If you aren't documenting your success and you're not documenting what you're bringing to the business, how else, like, no one's going to advocate for you the way you will advocate for you. You can still be humble about it. You don't have to like brag all over the place, but you do need to stand firm and socialize the work that you're doing and know what is important to the business. So you need to, what was really helpful, I got my MBA, and what was incredibly helpful about it is it let me look from a business lens. It's very easy for marketers to get stuck and think about just what they need to do from a marketing perspective, but you need to be able to talk about your work from a business impact perspective. From like the overall business, how are you making things move? How are you driving impact? What KPIs are you looking at that leadership cares about, that you are playing a role in, that may not be a KPI that you specifically are measuring for you, but you know that it's leading to things for other teams that are measuring and looking at KPIs. Having that perspective to be able to look at your own work, but then be able to look at it in this bigger space and talk those talks, priceless.
It's something that April Dunford actually mentioned in episode 1 as a career power-up too. Like, she worded as, marketers need to get their head out of marketing
Yes.
and look at the bigger picture.
Yes.
Sometimes you just love
100%.
creating, love doing the community, love doing this, that, you mentioned, what is the impact of this to, voice of the customer, to the product, to CS, and, maybe creating some more content in the HubSpot Academy. And so this is exactly what you're talking about here.
Yeah. There's a lot of shiny things in marketing. And you expect, because you see how shiny it is and how lovely it is, that everyone else is going to see how great it is. And then you're shocked when leadership's like, why? Like, yes, it's shiny, but why should I care? And being able to think about it from that perspective of like, what's in it for them, incredibly important. And also the other thing that I've learned that's been very hard and difficult for me to learn. I love to write. I love to talk, as you can tell. So people be like, so what are you up to? And I'll write a thesis. I'll write Odysseus. Leadership does not care. Leadership does not want to see that. Leadership, no. So if you have updates, go into like ChatGPT or AI or whatever tool you're doing, write your breakdown
Summarize.
And then tell ChatGPT, like, summarize this for this level of person. Tell me the main things that I'm talking about here and give me the main points in bullet point form. Be as simple as possible. Because I will literally write the Bible. And they're like, I want 3 bullets. Just give me 3 bullets, Christina. Okay.
do you actually use ChatGPT for that? That's super interesting.
I use HubSpot's. I use HubSpot's content assistant for that because I got to keep it in house.
Yeah,
but,
makes sense.
But I would recommend that. I think I posted on that at LinkedIn a few weeks ago because it's very true. ICs want everyone to see what they're doing. Like, I'm doing all this work. You may not know. Like, I need to tell you everything. And leadership's like, I got 4 seconds. I'm about to go into another meeting. I got 4 seconds. What do I need to know? Is there a blocker?
Yeah.
Go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big advice I would give. Do that because you think that because they're going to summarize it if you don't. And they may not pick the things that you think are important. And then you're like, but why did you? Oh, okay. Because you summarized my 10 pages into like 2 sentences. And it's not the 2 sentences I would choose.
If you enjoyed this episode, you'd love the Marketing Powerups newsletter. I share the actionable takeaways and break down the frameworks of world-class marketers. You can go to marketingpowerups.com to subscribe and you'll instantly unlock the 3 best frameworks that top marketers use to hit their KPIs consistently and wow their colleagues. I want to say thank you to you for listening and please like and follow Marketing Powerups on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. If you're feeling extra generous, kindly leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave a comment on YouTube. It goes a long way in others finding out about Marketing Powerups. Thanks to Mary Sullivan for creating the artwork and design, and thank you to Faisal Kaigo for editing the intro video. And of course, thank you for listening. That's all for now. Have a powered up day.
Marketing Power-Ups! Until the next episode,